Ni hao, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about a great industry for nomads to work in. So I think a major problem with this lifestyle is finding an industry where you can actually have a career in, because obviously living like this, you want to travel, you want to take time off, and doing that kind of blocks your ability to have a job that has kind of long-term growth in it, and so that's what I'm going to talk about today. Let's cut to the chase. The industry that I want to talk about today is the hospitality industry. Now, don't click off the video because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I am not a people person, but I'm here to tell you that even in this people-oriented industry, there are jobs for people who would never want to be around another person in their life, and I'm going to get to that later. So, there are three main reasons why I like the hospitality industry. They are flexibility, potential for long-term growth, and that there are lots of different jobs in different places available. And I'm gonna share a website that I use to help find this work at the end of the video. I should just briefly break down what I mean by the hospitality industry. And so when I talk about the hospitality industry, I'm specifically talking about corporate resorts. So that would be like Boyne is one that I've worked at. I've been hired at Vail, which is another company. I've never actually worked a season with them. But then there's also smaller resorts around the United States too that you can work at. So that's what I mean when I talk about the hospitality industry. I'm specifically talking about resorts. Okay, so let's get into it. The first reason why I really like working at resorts is because it is super flexible. Flexible. It is super flexible. A, with my lifestyle, and B, with the time that you're actually spending at the resort. So let me break that down. At the resort that I worked at last summer, if I wanted to take off time to go do something, I was working near Yellowstone, for example. If I wanted to take off 4 or 5 days during the season to go to Yellowstone, I would be able to do that. Now, of course, there's going to be busy weekends like 4th of July, and if there's any big events at the resort, and during those weekends you're obviously going to have to be working, but there's also slow times during the season too, and during those times you're able to get out and see the cool stuff around you. Resorts are generally in a pretty place. And then, in a larger sense, it's really flexible with the long-term calendar of your life, I guess you could say. So, for example, the resort that I work at in the summer, the season is about 3.5 months, but there are also resorts that hire for 5 months or maybe even longer. So, depending on how much you want to work, you can fill up your yearly calendar. I should say, there's 2 seasons generally. There's a summer season and a winter season. The summer season is more like mountain biking, hiking, rafting, stuff like that, and golf. And the winter season is snowboarding and skiing and things like that. So depending on which resort you work at, you can find 3-month contracts or 5-month contracts, depending on how their seasons line up. And so if you're a person who really wants to travel 6 months out of the year, you can probably load up your yearly calendar with 3 months of resort work, or 6 months of resort work, one in the summer and one in the winter. Or if you're a person who wants to work a lot this year, you can probably line up 5 months here and 5 months there and have a window in between where you can pick up another job or whatever. I don't know what you do. Travel, something. All of that to say that in a small way and in a big way, working at resorts is extremely flexible, and I think that's great. Okay, so the next reason why I really love working at resorts is because there are a ton of jobs for all different types of people. As I said before, you might hear hospitality and you might think, you know, that's not the job for me. But there's lots of jobs kind of behind the scenes in hospitality that you might be great for, that also pay really well. So, for example, one would be housekeeping. Housekeeping, those people can make a lot of money. If you're quick doing beds and you're a good cleaner, you can make a lot of money, because the more rooms you do, the more money you make, because there's more tips. Another job for somebody who doesn't necessarily have a lot of people skills would maybe be like groundskeeping. Those guys can make $15 to $16 an hour depending on your experience. And also working in the kitchen. So depending on which state you work in, tips also sometimes get allocated to the kitchen as well as like from the servers. And okay, so I'm a server. That's what I did last summer. And in Montana, there's no law against tipping out the back of the house. So if you're line cook in the back of the house, you actually share a portion of the tips that the servers make, and you can make pretty good money doing that too. Obviously, the more experience that you have in anything, you're going to be able to make more money, but that's kind of going into my next point, which is going to be about growth in the company. Another thing that I want to say about working at a resort is that, say for example, you want to be a waiter, because obviously the people who make tips on the resort are the people who make the most money. That's what I do. So anyway, if you want to be a waiter, but you don't have any experience, the cool thing about working at resorts is it's pretty easy to move from department to department. So, for example, I was working as a waiter last summer, and I just simply expressed interest to the person who was the manager of the health spa, saying, you know, I'd like to work in the gym here, mostly just to get a free place to shower and work out. But I just expressed interest, and within like a couple weeks, I was hired, and I was working 1 day a week at that gym. Same thing can work for the kitchens too. As long as you're like a normal, sane person, and as long as you're a normal, sane person, I think that you shouldn't have a problem getting a job in whatever department you want. It's always been my experience that way, that it's pretty easy to move from department to department. The final reason why I like working at resorts is that you have the ability to work at a place that can facilitate some long-term growth. Like, if you are trying to find some kind of job that... My mom's home. So, if you are trying to balance out a little bit of stability with your possibly chaotic nomadic lifestyle, I can't think of a better job than working at resorts. The reason for that is that time off to travel is basically built into the structure of the job. As I was talking about earlier, you work for 3 or 4 months, and then you have 2 or 3 months off, and then you work for another 3 or 4 months, and then you have 2 or 3 months off, and you can just keep doing that. And this is the main reason why I feel like you can have a lot of growth in these companies, is because a lot of the people who work at resorts, no offense to any of my resort friends who are watching this, you're all great people, but a lot of people who work at resorts are, for lack of a better word, bums. Ski bums, mountain bike bums, people who just want to be at that place for a free lift pass. And look, people in this industry know that. They know that this is something that they deal with. And so if you're the kind of person who has an inkling of maybe some long-term goals with that company, you can climb the ranks really fast, and you can get into a managerial position, or you can negotiate a better wage pretty easily, because good people are difficult to come by, especially in an industry where there's a lot of fluidity of employees, and they want to keep people who come back season after season. And also, I think for that reason, at resorts, at least the one I work at, I've been treated really well, and I'm excited to go back there. It's kind of like summer camp. When I first showed up, it was like, I'm going on a tangent now, but when I first showed up, all the people at orientation knew each other. They were giving each other hugs. They were saying, hey, what did you do during your time off? Where did you go? Where did you travel? And it's just nice to be a part of that family. It provides a nice level of stability, where at the same time, if you want to hedge against your lifestyle of being kind of chaotic and have something with some potential growth in the future, working at a resort is great. And again, like I was saying before, once you've demonstrated that you're a pretty stable, good employee, a good person, you know, a good person to work with, it's pretty easy to network with all the people and move, say, from the kitchen to the health spa, or move from working as a waiter to a housekeeper, for example. I don't know, anything. It's really easy to move because they want to keep good people around. And before I go, I just wanted to share with you the website that I use to find these resort jobs, the website that I like to use. This isn't an endorsement at all. I just like it personally. They haven't paid me or anything like that. It's called coolworks.com. Cool as in, like, cool, and works as in works. COOLWOORKS. No, COOLWORKS.com. That's what I use. It's a good website, and there's tons of jobs on there. that is that, guys. Let me know what you think about resort life, and if you think it's something that might be right for you. If you have any questions about it, feel free to post in the comments, and I will answer everything that I can. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and have a great day.